I'm talking about Sandcastle today. It's a film on Netflix. Um, Stars Nicholas Hoult, Logan Marshall Green, and Henry Cavill. Superman in it. He actually does a really good job. Uh, the short version of it is it's a little bit of a slow burn, but it is well worth it, and it does have a good story. It does have a character arc, and I would highly recommend it for anyone to see, as long as you're not opposed to a slow burn movie. But it does have a payoff, and it does have some scenes of, and I guess this is, I felt like it might have mirrored the military life, where there's some times where there's just not a whole lot going on, and then there's time periods of intense action. But even the time periods where there's not a whole lot going on, there's still more internal stuff going on, that are going on with the people involved. I think everyone does a pretty good acting job. I thought Henry Cavill actually did a really good job, because he plays kind of a dick, but he doesn't actually do anything. He just kind of gives off that vibe of a little bit of an asshole. And so it's played pretty subtly, but it is there. Also, you see the lead actor that we're talking about. He does a good job as well, because he also plays a character that's not entirely likable as well. But he's also not so unlikable or so egregious that it feels like it's overplayed, trying to be too dramatic about it. There was one action. Now, all the action scenes are actually done really well, I thought. They're not a lot of shaky cam. You can tell what's going on, where the people are, that sort of stuff. That's shot well. You can see the action. But there was one small action scene where the group of soldiers that we're following in specific are blocking off a road for the Special Forces unit. And the Special Forces are going into a house, but they're just our unit that we're following are just blocking off the road. And at one point they come under fire, and it seemed extraordinarily long that the camera just stays on our soldiers shooting from the turret and from the vehicle out, but it doesn't actually even show us like where they're shooting at. If I remember correctly, it doesn't even show us one time, and it just goes on and on. That really actually was so poor in contrast to the rest of the movie and how it was shot and filmed, that I'm really baffled why it wasn't just shorter, because it contributed nothing by making it so excessively long. I mean, I do think they wanted you to feel under pressure, that perhaps you were scared for the soldiers, but it went on so long that it was just confusing and boring, and it lost the threat that you might have felt if it was at least half the time, half short. And like I said, there wasn't anything that you missed. I mean, quite literally nothing happens. They're just shooting the whole time, and I think right at the end somebody gets hit, but not enough to knock them down all the way. They could still function. So, and I guess one of the reasons I wanted to make this was Netflix has quite a few shows coming out, and I've watched a couple of them, and they're up and down sometimes in quality. I'm one of those people that if I watch like 20 minutes of it and I don't feel like it's going well, I'll just turn it off. I'm not going to spend the rest of the time. And even sometimes if I'm watching a movie or show and I'm in an hour to it and then it just takes a nosedive, no loss. I'll just turn it off. I don't feel obligated to to finish it. But this was a good burn. I think I broke it into 2 nights that I watched it, and like I said, it's a slow burn, but it's good. The acting's good. Dialogue's pretty good. And some of these side characters actually do a really good job of being very personable, because they do meet some of the Iraqis, but they're not prominently in the movie. Obviously we're focusing on the soldiers, but those actors do a good job of having charisma on the screen, so that you notice them, you like them, you want to see more of them, you want to interact with them. And it being, of course, about the military and warfare, there's always that constant threat as well of coming under fire at any moment. So definitely give it a try if you like a slow burn, and also if you want to see Superman, Henry Cavill, do something a little bit different. And he does do something a little bit different in this, and I would like to see him in some different roles like this, see how much he can stretch himself, and how far he can go. Thanks for listening. Bye.